Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you joining us today. If you're a focused learner looking to fundamentally shift how you view success, progress, and really just your daily routines, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're completely tearing down the myth of the overnight success. Instead, we're going to look at the math, the psychology, and the absolute power of getting just a tiny bit better every single day.
Okay, let's jump right into this with a story that honestly kinda defies belief. How did a sports team with 110 years of absolute, undeniable mediocrity suddenly go on to win 60% of the Olympic gold medals available in their event? I'm talking about the British cycling team. Get this, prior to 2003, they had won exactly one gold medal since 1908. They were so bad that top European bike manufacturers literally refused to sell them gear. They were terrified it would hurt their brand if other teams saw the British riders using it. But then, a guy named Dave Brailsford took over as performance director, and man, everything changed.
The secret to their seemingly impossible transformation is detailed in the source material for our explainer today, James Clear's phenomenal book, Atomic Habits. Clear outlines exactly how Brailsford completely disrupted the cycling world. And he didn't do it by making massive, earth-shattering changes. He did it by obsessing over the microscopic details.
All right, let's get into section 1, the power of tiny gains.
So let's actually break down the exact mechanism the British cycling team used to snap that 110-year losing streak. It all starts with a core definition. An atomic habit is an extremely small amount of a thing. It's the single irreducible unit of a larger system. When Dave Brailsford took over, he wasn't looking to make one massive sweeping overhaul. Instead, he committed relentlessly to a strategy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. Basically, it's the philosophy of searching for a tiny, tiny margin of improvement in absolutely everything you do. Now, you might be wondering what that actually looks like in practice. Well, they didn't just tell the athletes to pedal harder. They looked at the atomic level. They redesigned the bike seats to make them slightly more comfortable. They had riders wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature. But they also went into totally unexpected areas. They literally hired a surgeon to teach the riders the absolute best way to wash their hands, just to reduce the chance of catching a cold. They tested out different mattresses to figure out which pillow gave each specific rider the best night's sleep. They even painted the inside of the team truck white so they could spot tiny specks of dust that might degrade the finely tuned bikes. By themselves, these things seem completely insignificant, but aggregated together, it's a real game changer. Which brings us to the raw math behind this concept. Think about it. What actually happens if you get just 1% better every day for a year? We naturally tend to dismiss small changes because, well, they don't really seem to matter in the moment. Saving a couple bucks doesn't make you a millionaire today. Hitting the gym for 3 days doesn't make you instantly fit. But look at what happens when you let time do its thing. If you can manage to get just 1% better each day for one full year, you don't just become 3.65 times better. Because of the magic of compounding, you end up nearly 38 times better by the time you're done. 38 times. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day, you decline almost all the way down to zero. Time literally magnifies the margin between success and failure. Habits are essentially the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. If you were to chart this out, a 1% improvement barely even registers at first. The difference between success and failure looks indistinguishable early on. But over time, the gap between a 1% daily improvement and a 1% daily decline becomes absolutely massive. This is why it's so crucial to focus on your current trajectory rather than obsessing over your current results. Moving right along to section 2, the plateau of potential. Okay, so if the math is that reliable, why is it so incredibly frustrating to stick to a good habit? Why do we give up so easily? Let's use a metaphor here. Imagine an ice cube sitting on the table right in front of you. You're in a freezing cold room. You can actually see your breath. It's 25 degrees. Ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees. 27 degrees. 28 degrees. 29 degrees. You are putting constant energy into heating this room, but that ice cube just sits there completely unchanged. 30 degrees. 31 degrees. Still nothing, literally zero change. At this point, you might feel like your heating efforts are completely useless. You've put in all this work, but there are absolutely zero tangible results on the table. Then, 32 degrees hits, and the ice finally begins to melt. That single 1 degree shift
seemingly no different from the temperature increases right before it, unlocked a massive change. This, right here, is the plateau of latent potential. Your previous efforts weren't wasted at all. They were just being stored up. All the visible action happens at 32 degrees.
This concept maps so perfectly to human behavior because it creates what we call the valley of disappointment. We always expect progress to be linear, right? We want a one-to-one return on our daily effort. But reality operates on a curve. That agonizing gap between what we think should happen and what actually happens is the valley of disappointment. And it is exactly where most people quit. They run for a month, they don't see a six-pack in the mirror, and they just stop. But if you truly understand the plateau of latent potential, you know that the compounding breakthroughs are always delayed. You just have to survive the valley. Which brings us to section 3, systems over goals. So how do we actually survive that valley? Well, we have to pivot away from a pretty massive piece of conventional wisdom. We actually have to stop fixating on goals. Think about this comparison. A goal is winning a championship, but a system is how you recruit players and conduct practice every day. A goal is building $1 million business. The system is how you test product ideas and hire employees. Let me ask you this. If a coach completely ignored the goal of winning the championship and only focused on what the team did at practice every single day, would they still get results? Absolutely, because the score takes care of itself.
Look, goals are great for setting a direction, but systems are how you actually make progress. In fact, a goals-first mindset has some pretty major flaws. First off, survivorship bias. We forget that winners and losers usually have the exact same goals. Every single Olympian wants the gold medal. The goal isn't what differentiates them, the system does. Second, goals only create momentary change. Say you have a super messy room and you summon the willpower to clean it. Boom, you achieved your goal. But if you don't change your sloppy habits, your underlying system, guess what? Your room is just going to be messy again next week. Third, goals restrict your happiness. We constantly tell ourselves, once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy. Systems, on the other hand, allow you to be successful and happy every single time the system is running. And finally, goals create this terrible yo-yo effect. Think of a runner who trains for months, crosses the marathon finish line, and then just stops running entirely because the goal is gone. Systems are about continuing to play the game, not just winning a single match.
And that leads us to our final part, section 4, changing your identity. So, why do some people permanently change their systems while others completely fail? It comes down to the absolute deepest, most foundational layer of behavior change. James Clear conceptualizes this as 3 concentric circles, kind of like the layers of an onion. The outer layer is outcomes, that's changing your results, like losing weight. The middle layer is processes, changing your habits, like going to the gym. But the core, the deepest layer, is identity. This is all about changing your beliefs, your worldview, and your self-image. Most people start from the outside in. They say, I want to be skinny, so I'm going to stick to this new diet. They never actually consider their identity. But true, lasting change has to start from the inside out. Let me give you a really profound example of this. Imagine 2 different people trying to resist a cigarette. The first person is offered a smoke and they say, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Now, that sounds totally reasonable, right? But think about the underlying belief there. This person still identifies as a smoker who is just trying to be something else. They haven't actually changed their core identity. Now, contrast that with the second person. Offered the exact same cigarette, they say, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. It is such a subtle shift in phrasing, but it signals a massive shift in identity. Smoking is a part of their past, not their present. They simply no longer identify as someone who smokes. And that perfectly illustrates our ultimate takeaway for today. Behind every system of actions is a system of beliefs. Behavior that is incongruent with your self-image will simply never last. You might want to save more money for sure, but if your identity is someone who consumes rather than creates, you're always going to be pulled right back towards spending. You have to change who you are at the atomic level. Which leaves us with one final, vital question to ponder. Every single time you execute a habit, you are essentially casting a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Now, obviously, no single instance transforms your beliefs overnight, but as those daily votes build up, the evidence of your new identity becomes undeniable. So I'll leave you with this. Take a hard look at your routines today. Are your daily 1% actions casting votes for the identity you actually want? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I challenge you to start casting those winning votes today. Catch you next time.